We all have our own tragedies. The memory of these tragic moments can dampen even a bright sunny afternoon. Today, I, Aparna Singh, will narrate the story of a couple who were deprived of parenthood. But it is more the story of a young woman expecting to be a mother and her tragic encounter with an unexpected mishap. While riding pillion on the way, the wind brushed past her with the promise of brushing away the ominous. Dugga, dugga, let everything be fine, she muttered to herself, with all the conviction she could muster. This time in December, Kolkata reluctantly readies to embrace winter. The chill seemed welcoming. The wind distracted her, and she noticed the car halting adjacent to them. These traffic signals and the sudden lapse in movement irked her usually, but not this time. The tinted glass afforded a reluctant glimpse of the girl in the car halting adjacent to them. She did not like the idea of peeping into other vehicles, but she let her roving eyes wander. Bearing a somewhat somber visage, the girl, 6-ish, held her doll close. Mamuni faked a smile. What a sweet young girl, she mused, shelving for a moment, the tension ransacking her thoughts. The signal turned green, and the bike swerved ahead. She tightened her grip on Babu, her husband's shoulders. The jerky movement broke her reverie, and she felt a stinging pain swirling in and out of existence. Last year, this time, they went to Digha. The waves seemed in full swing, twirling and curling before bouncing off them, making them breathless. Her grip on Babu slackened as she tried to rub away the sudden onslaught of salt and sand. Reclaiming herself, she clutched onto Babu. The sands slipped away from underneath. She uttered an exhilarated squeal. The waves ceaselessly lapped at her feet. She fell in love. What if they took her away with them to a far-off land? What if... "Hold on to me tight," came a warning from Babu, weaning her from the intimate camaraderie she had only begun to form. It was the 8th month, and nothing could go wrong now, her mother had assured her. "Everything will be fine," she said, while rubbing her arms. Wish the swift, strained movement of her fingers had not lasted that long, sighed Mamuni. Her pillow was sticky and wet with sweat. The fever that had climbed to 106 degrees in the afternoon was exhausting. How drained and dizzy she felt. Her fidgeting had left creases on the sheet tucked tightly into the bed. She slightly shifted to her right to iron out the folds with her palms. The heaviness that paralyzed her lower back stung her with an excruciating sharpness. A muffled shriek escaped her. She peevishly looked around to ensure she had not disrupted the furtively onerous afternoon rhythm so peculiar to hospitals. Her memory from the last visit to the doctors came back fresh as the strong rancid smell of the floor cleaner assaulted her nostrils. She covered her mouth to stop herself from puking. What was happening to her? She would go under the machine and mindlessly surrender to its buzzing hum. On her way out of the testing room, she saw Babu. He was leaning absently on the staircase railing. The drooping shoulders had an emaciated, worn-out look. Maybe it was the oversized shirt he had hurriedly donned at the last minute. All the wakefulness had given him a hollow look. His cheekbones punctuated his jaws in a reverse parenthesis. He looked like a dark, brooding, tragic protagonist from an unknown Bollywood film, still languishing in the production pipeline. She wanted to hug him tight to assure it was okay, resting the emptiness, for that moment at least, as it clung to her entrails incorrigibly. She wanted to put it all in words, bind them with the string of reality. "We can have another child," she whispered to herself. "Certainly," she repeated. This time their child would trust them and not shy away into oblivion. This time she would be more careful. "Who are you talking to?" came a voice from the neighboring bed. "No one." Mamuni cringed as she realized that she must have been thinking loud, inordinately loud. She quietly rolled herself to the corner facing the limpid, flaky wall, reeking of dampness. The unruly wall was a savior, engulfing her in its all-knowing embrace. It didn't have questions. Stories etched in varied fonts rose up, unasked. It could also tell your stories you never could tell, ever. She hadn't realized till then how much she had always loved walls. And if you were the chosen one, you could be sucked into one of the crevices or the cracks, smugly resting on the edges, and then simply disappear uncomplainingly. She couldn't help noticing names scribbled on it. She stared hard, searchingly, to decipher as many as she could. Some had lost to time. Some began with a measured flourish, only to waver into a thinned indifference. The ones finely etched had a surprising boldness to them. Ronita, Onita, Seema, Putul. She tried hard to feel the movement she had felt with fond anticipation not very long ago. This must be the baby's feet, and these her hands. The thoughts inundated her with an uncanny ruthlessness now. How proud she was of her body, which could sustain another life inside her. This very body, with all its capacities, seemed nothing, nothing at all. A strong urge to destroy this body tore into her now. She wanted to dig her breasts and claw them out. If anything could have assuaged her, it was the sight of her own blood. How could she do this to her child? How could she fail to protect it? No, she couldn't cry out loud, lest she disturb the other pregnant women. Women who had living, kicking wombs. She stayed awake that night, anxious, thoughts looping through her head. A normal delivery is what we are looking for. She had been given strong antibiotics to arrest the rapidly increasing infection. They calmly stated. They wanted the womb to stay intact. But what about the baby? A body that was tied to her, was sustained by her through the umbilical cord, the doctors had explained. But how could it stop breathing so suddenly? No one, not even the doctors, had answers. She had been asking them the same questions over and over, again and again, as if her words were trapped in a self-sustaining echo. Their patience was running dry now, and she could sense it. Medicines were being administered to induce labor pain. But the pain inside her was already brimming over, frothing and snorting with vengeance. Maybe the baby was playing hide and seek. She believed in miracles still. What if a miracle awaited her, a divine intervention? No one could deny that she had been quite meticulous with her well-being. No, She never missed her iron tablets, nor did she take her prescribed diet casually. She may not have been perfect, but she did her best. A week ago, an adamant yellowness stained her eyes. She had duly informed her mother. She had also let in the secret to her unborn child. It was jaundice. Nothing to be worried about, the local physician had dismissively stated. Just a few more days, my dear, a little more patience, she had secretly communicated. Another day passed. She dreamt of the baby floating inside, enveloped in bubbles. The baby was breathing. She screamed, ecstatic. Her flailing hands hit the water bottle perched on the wobbly table beside her bed. "What's wrong, Mamuni? Are you in your senses? What on earth has possessed this girl?" A series of livid cries pierced her, pinching her relentlessly. She seemed awake and yet asleep. Was she dreaming? Or was it a moment of deep connection that her baby had gifted her? A parting gift, was it? Tears rolled down her cheek. She felt her abdomen. It was stiff. A spasm of discomfort radiated down toward her thighs. The child had breathed its last even before she had left for the hospital. It had been long dead before Mamuni knew it, even before she could tentatively forge a relationship with it. It sounded cruel, if nothing else. The doctor had arrived. Now was the time for inducing it, the labor pain. And then they could give it a try. The baby will finally be released. She imagined her womb as a watery prison. She felt relief for the baby, trapped as it had been. The baby will, at last, find her rightful abode. A calm flushed her, the same she had often experienced while watching tragic films. She had a habit of crying profusely. Death scared her and eluded her. It had that misty allure about it that she could never fathom. What happened to all the people who simply disappeared from this earth's womb? The earth has a womb. This is new, she thought. There is no way of knowing how many children were lost to their parents, and vice versa. No way of knowing how many of them were lost by accident and how many by design. The magnanimity of it all gave her a strange comfort she couldn't describe to herself. She would hide in the kitchen to avoid overwhelmingly sad moments. There was an uncanny unpleasantness about them. Alerted to the conspicuous mechanical sounds of the machines beeping from her right, she was suddenly gripped by the wish to simply run away. But she couldn't think of anywhere to go.